I am going to explain to the Democratic Party how to win the 2028 election from the words of a moderate. Because with this Charlie Kirk situation, to the Democratic Party, y'all not looking too good right now. Maybe the people within the party may not realize it, but the most important thing about winning the 2028 election is convincing people like me, moderates, and people in the middle why we should vote your side. Number one, and I even wrote this down, be able to communicate your ideas without using the emotional charge toolbox. What is the emotional charge toolbox? I got a toolbox. I'm going to use the word racist. I'm going to use the word fascist. I'm going to use the word, dude with the crazy mustache that does that, Stop using those words to communicate your ideas. Y'all have to think critically. If you are trying to convince somebody that thinks something else, calling them an emotionally charged name is not the way to go to change their mind. Because a lot of y'all don't know how to get your point across without using emotionally charged words. And using emotion is not how you win an argument. Now for number two, for the people that know how to do step one, which is be able to communicate your ideas without using emotionally charged words, get your people in check. Because people on the left cannot take any criticism within people outside of their party. So a moderate, a Republican, you guys don't know how to take, criticism whatsoever. So it has to be the people within the party to be able to get your niggas in check. Now, I did see prominent, Democratic leaders and Democratic influencers speak out against Charlie Kirk's assassination. But even with them, there was a good amount of Democrats and leftists within those comments that were, somehow speaking out against their own people in the party just by trying to be, a good person to speak out against assassinations. And that's not a good look. I don't know how y'all can fix that, but y'all got to get that shit in check. Which then that leads to my third point, which is choose the perfect candidate that can not only do step one, which I've already explained, but yeah, y'all also got to do step two, which is get y'all people in check. Y'all got to speak out against this rhetoric, and this is not just for the Democratic Party. I think the Republican Party also got to somehow change this rhetoric of communicating with each other. But 100%, the next presidential candidate, he or she has to be able to approach this with love, because if you don't and you have this crazy rhetoric and use these emotionally charged words, people are over it. People are so over it. And these words that y'all use, y'all are taking meaning away from when they actually mean those words. So yeah, that's my opinion from the words of a moderate. I know this was kind of quick, but I really just think it comes down to these three steps. This is how y'all win.
You're scaring us. I mean, and it's been going on for a while. We just ain't said nothing about it, but you are scaring us. Like when it was Pick a Gender Day in kindergarten, we were just looking across the aisle, like what's going on over there. And we thought y'all were going to get it together in-house, but when that didn't happen, we just had to be quiet because you was going to call us a name if we said something, so we just shut up. And there is a type, like a certain individual in that group that is just insufferable. And not everybody, not all, not because of what you believe. It's just because hard to talk to. Like, oh, you can talk about pancakes. What about waffles? Okay, how about we all just go outside? How about that? Because it seems like you don't do that much. And it's a little scary. And reactions to brutal violence can be diverse, but joy is a strange one. And we saw you do that. And you can pretend like we didn't. We all saw that. And it was very scary to witness. And then when we called you on it, it was like a backpedal. Like, I'm not happy or sad. Okay, well, you might be a little insane. And that's scary. And I don't know. And it's like the left lies, the right lies. When you get more, no disrespect, intelligent, you'll realize that both sides are just lying. But I'm not going to just believe that somebody's a racist just because you said they are. And I'm not going to just believe your headline. I'm going to go and look at it for myself. And when I did, you just don't like what he got to say. And that's fine. That's your right. But he's not the mustache man in Germany because he's disagreeing with you. Okay? My advice is that you cannot let the more minority part of your group drive the bus, because they're driving it off of a cliff. And when you keep going further left, the people in the middle are naturally going to go righter because you're sliding the ticker. You need to get that together before the next election because it's not looking good. Bless.
Okay, hi TikTok. So I am a college student and I have really been pondering over the past week politics, my worldview, and just where I stand politically.
Yeah.
Because after, the events that unfolded over the past week, and the strong visceral reaction to it online, I really sat and thought about it. Really just made me sit and think, am I on a good side of politics? Am I actually aligning with my values and morals?
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good thing. The willingness to even consider that maybe your politics no longer aligns with your values and your morals. And that's why I truly believe that you don't get your morals from politics. You get your politics from your morality. And when your political system no longer it no longer reflects your morals and values, it's okay to reflect on that and change. And I think that that's the whole point of college. So it's good that he's willing to challenge himself in that way.
Kind of just in an echo chamber full of hate, vitriol, vilification, and just disgusting practices.
Yep.
So I was raised in a very left-leaning space. I grew up in a left-leaning city. I've been in left-leaning educational institutions my entire life. So I always just had that left-leaning moral compass, and it was always affirmed by the fact that as a Black queer man in America...
Oh, wow, pick a struggle, brother. Black and gay, pick a struggle. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, the thing about being Black and gay is you're going to get rejected by two communities. Even making this video for him is what they would call brave on the left, right? Because as for Black people, as a Black man that votes Republican, especially and has voted Republican over the last in the last election, you're 7-3. 70%, or I believe it's 8-2 actually. 80% of Black men are going to vote for Democrat regardless. 90% of Black women are going to vote Democrat regardless. So it's almost a monolith in that sense in terms of how we vote. And so if you're a Black man and you vote Republican, you're automatically outcast as some type of, they're going to call you all these different types of slurs or whatever it may be. But it doesn't matter, because if that's your value system, that's your value system. And that's what, if that's what's worked with for your family, that's what's worked for your family. And that's what's worked for my family. So that's the way that I go. It doesn't matter what other people think. But I'm just saying that even making this video is brave, because he's going to be rejected by everybody in both of those communities, especially the LGBTQ community too. They're going to kick him out too. So he has to be willing and ready to get a lot of backlash from the people that he may have considered to be friends, just for making this video, just for making the consideration and challenging the morality, especially that we've seen after the Charlie Kirk assassination and what was going on. And that's why I've been saying over the past few days, the biggest impact to me in my views wasn't the assassination. Obviously, that was tragic. The whole situation regarding that assassination was tragic, but it was the willingness to see people, or it was the seeing people on the other side cheer it on. Sometimes in the worst case scenarios, ask for more of it, justify it, make it seem right in their head. That was the most alarming part and the most eye-opening part for me. And it makes sense to start to question yourself after that.
There's people who are out to get you, and people hate you for existing, and you need to stand firm in your left-leaning beliefs, or else your rights are at stake. People are going to try to get you out of the country, take away your rights, even kill you and whatnot, right? So I've grown up with these beliefs for a really long time, and I've just been so firm in them, and I've been in these left-leaning echo chambers because of them, and I've kind of just always been around left-leaning voices as I got older. But now I'm really considering if that's even who I am and if that's what I stand for, and I'm kind of maybe considering leaving the left, because after seeing how many people have just been so nasty and just disgusting in reaction to Charlie Kirk passing away from gun violence, it's like so shocking to me, because when I first heard about the news, right, I actually was understanding to a lot of this excitement online. I didn't think much of the death, because from what I had heard, Charlie Kirk had been a neo-Nazi who wanted me to be dead. He didn't support my existence and whatnot. And now I'm kind of sitting here thinking, and I'm like, I feel like I had been lied to. I really took some time after the thing happened to kind of look into his videos, look into his beliefs, look into his thoughts, and who he was as a person, kind of reevaluate his character. And to me, he seemed like a well-mannered family man. He believed in the country. He believed in the greater good of the country. He had his own political beliefs and opinions. And sure, there's a lot of things that I don't agree with him on, but I never would stand for him dying or being murdered because of his beliefs. That just doesn't...
But when people cheered on his death, it made you want to look into who he was and the things that they were saying about him, because they cheered it on because he was a fascist or a racist. And you're like, dang, if you're cheering on somebody's death, this person must really be a bad person. Let me go look into their content. And that's what a lot of people did. And when they looked into his content and they heard the things that he was saying, they were like, this is something that my uncle would say. This is something that, people that I love might say, that I know are good people, but this is just, they just look at things differently than me. This isn't extreme. This isn't a race. And they would do that. It's like an old lawyer technique. Assassinate a person's character if you can't deal with the proof that they present. So in a situation where there's a case where you can't deal with the overwhelming proof, you want to prove that the person saying the things is a bad person to assassinate their character. That's something that lawyers use in court. So calling him a fascist or a bigot or a racist is just trying to make it so that you don't have to deal with the evidence and the arguments that he's presenting. But when people called him those things and they cheered on his death, people were like, dang, this dude must be so bad. I want to look into the things that he was saying that makes people cheer on his death. Like they think he's that bad to the point that they can cheer on his death. And people seen his arguments and they were actually pretty balanced. Pretty what on the right people would consider to be pretty moderate, you know? So yeah, a lot of people started to wake up to it. And it was because of the left cheering on his death that made people go, how is he that bad of a person? Let me look into him. And then they realized the things that they seen or heard wasn't as bad as these people tried to make it seem. And it certainly didn't justify cheering on his death.
It doesn't make sense to me. I would never support some sort of ideology that pushes for something that nasty. Mm-hmm. And I want to give a really big shout out to Candace Owens because regardless of how controversial she is and regardless of her complicated legacy with politics and her possibly being a grifter and whatnot, she posted a really good video humanizing Charlie Kirk in a way that I had never seen before. She displayed Charlie as a friend, as a human, as a genuine caring guy, and just showed a side of him that I think most people had never seen. And it was so different from, you know, the person who you see on the debate stages and, you know, and the controversial tweets and whatnot. You saw a human being, right? There's a video of them in the car singing along to a controversial singer song, right? Singing
this is R. Kelly, baby.
Lyrics, but they were having fun. They were being genuine, like human beings, just vibing. And it just, like, I saw it and I was just like, wait, like, this is like not too much on him. I don't know.
You could say R. Kelly bad because of what he did, but there's a lot of people who made good art that shouldn't be there. The art is still good. I don't care what nobody say. R. Kelly is still one of the greatest putting it together people than ever. What he did, I don't agree with. Just because what he did ain't wrong don't mean his art ain't objectively good. I think it's good. But either way, what he's saying about the humanizing aspect of it is, yeah, that's why they try to dehumanize him in the first place. It's so that you don't actually go look further into his arguments. It's so that they don't have to deal with his arguments. So when you humanize him and make him seem like a regular person, you go, oh, well, then now we actually have to listen to what he says because he's a regular person. But yeah, you see him sitting in the car with Candace Owens listening to Ignition by R. Kelly. The dude used to play basketball in high school. He's 6'5", so he used to play basketball in high school. He was pretty darn good. He could throw a football 60 yards. He just chose to go into politics. So it's like, yeah, once you start to humanize him and you see those human aspects of him, even outside of just his politics, you realize that he's an everyday person. He was a regular guy with a family.
And it kind of just made me reevaluate everything. And I was like, it left me with a weird gut feeling and I kind of felt sick and I was just like, I cannot believe there are so many people who are like celebrating his passing. Like he seems like a normal guy. I don't know. It didn't make sense to me. So then I kind of just like really went down that rabbit hole of like starting to question my beliefs and thoughts. And I think I may be starting to lean a lot farther right in response to everything that's taken place.
It's happening.
But yeah, that's my thoughts. If I'm wrong, prove me wrong, I guess. But I'm really considering leaving the left after everything that's taken place. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I actually respect him because he must have been a lot more moderate than he's leading on. Because if you're even willing to listen to Candace Owens, there are people on the left that aren't even willing to hear other people on the other side. Like, I'm willing to listen to Vosh and Destiny. Even though I disagree with them, I can respect their ability to debate and I can respect their arguments because they compile them in a way that makes them more respectable. It's not just straight up slander and fear mongering. They at least try to present information that supports what they say, and I can respect that. But the fact that he was willing to listen to somebody like Candace Owens, he's probably a lot more moderate than he thinks. He was just considering himself to be left because it's safe and it protects his identity. Obviously, him being gay, everybody that's gay say, well, not everybody, but a lot of them are on the left outside of like Milo, and the black guy, I think his name is Omar. He's on YouTube. So him saying that he was on the left was probably more him protecting his identity than him aligning with it morally. And now that he's not aligning with it morally anymore, he's questioning. And that's a good thing. I think that that's a good thing. Let me know in the comments below if this video was a W or L, and give me the HBO special. That's a help brother out special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. Till next time.